Hello, I said I'll be back with another live, and if you remember I said that I would be back with a demonstration of seated Tai Chi qigong. Now a little bit of explanation. Tai Chi is a Chinese martial art that by definition is done standing, and the sequence of moves that I teach normally are called Shibashi qigong, which means 18 moves. Shibashi means 18 and qigong means energy work. And although Tai Chi can be done seated, although Tai Chi cannot technically be done seated, what happens in qigong is that the moves can be adapted for those who, for whatever reason, cannot stand. Now, a lot of you will know I run sessions at CPM, where a lot of people are in wheelchairs and where a lot of people have very, very restricted or no movement. But maybe, like me, you've just got a bit of an arthritic hip, or you suffer from fatigue, which means that you can't stand up for too long. Maybe you've temporarily got, a bad leg, whatever. So, you're having to sit down. Physical movement is really, really good, even if you're only doing it in a limited way. And so I'm going to repeat a number of mantras that I always use before my CPM sessions. And then I'm going to run you through a very short seated qigong set of moves. So, first mantra, if you can breathe, you can do it. Now, why do I say this? Because the term qigong, translated from the Chinese, means energy work. Most people know the link between qi and energy. But there is also a strong link in Chinese between energy, spirit, and breath. And actually, the one thing that almost anybody can do if they want to join in a session like this and you're watching this, there's two things that everybody will be doing. One is you are breathing. If you're not breathing, then I don't really think you're watching it. But everybody can breathe, and everybody can use their imagination. And in the end, if all you can do is imagine that you're doing these moves, that's as good as actually making them. Because what you do with your mind in this session is just as important as anything you may do with your arms. Now, I'm going to lay out what an ideal posture is, and I'm going to be demonstrating various moves. There's another important mantra that you need to remember, which is nothing you do should cause you any pain or any discomfort. Why? Because this is based in traditional Chinese medicine, and in TCM, a blockage or imbalance in your energy flow is seen as the root of all illness. So if you are doing something that causes you pain or discomfort, you will be blocking the energy flow. So when I say, as I will in a moment, so the starting point is to sit with your feet flat on the floor about a hip width apart. Now maybe you can't get your feet on the floor, maybe you can't, manipulate your legs to get your feet a hip width apart. That doesn't mean you can't join in, because the most important thing is that you are mindful of what your body is comfortable doing and do what works for you. Now, I run these sorts as well. I run the full sessions, the full 18 moves for people who can stand. And I always say, look, this is not about donning lycra and going for the burn. This is about recognising what your body is happy to do. Because if you're not used to doing any exercise, every fool knows that you don't go out and run a marathon without training. It's the same here. If you're not used to doing this sort of exercise, no, you're probably not going to get it perfect at first. I'll let you into a little secret. I don't always do the moves perfectly. Depends how I'm feeling. So don't feel that, if you can't get your arms all the way out there or all the way up there, that this is no good for you. It is. My invitation to you is to make the moves in a way that works for you. And as long as you understand what the aim of the move is, if you're doing it at the ideal way, as long as you understand that and keep that in mind, you are not going to go too far wrong. It's still going to be beneficial, because do you know what? The more you practice something, the better you get at it. So, another reason why I think seated qigong is really helpful is because qigong generally is not only good for the body, it's good for the mind. And I very, very much see mind and body as being one integrated whole. And I think everybody really does need to try to do what they can to take care of their own body and their own mind. So, without any further ado, let's get started. So I invite you to sit down. Ideally, as you can see, I'm sitting on a stool, so there's nothing to impede the movement of my arms. A dining chair is fine, but if the only chair that you can sit in is one that's got arms, that's fine. If that's your only choice, you can still join in your own way. Now, I'd like to invite you to, ideally, my stool is slightly too high, but ideally you want a 90-degree angle at your knee and a 90-degree angle at your hips. But again, if you can't get that, don't worry. Just go with what works for you. So you get your feet ideally on the floor, a hip width apart, but wherever works for you. Then I want you to get your back as straight as you can. And what you're aiming for is to try to get the crown of your head pointed up at the sky, up the ceiling. But don't do that if it hurts you. Just get your back as straight as you can. Get your chin parallel with the floor if you can. And then if you can let your arms hang down by your sides, do so. If it's easier for you to rest them on the arm of the chair or on your lap, do so. But get yourself into the best possible posture that you can, and just take a few gentle, easy breaths and settle in. And as you settle in, maybe just acknowledge that you're doing something to help yourself, and give yourself a little pat on the back, metaphorically speaking, because you are doing something for you. So, if you can, let your arms hang loosely by your sides with the palms facing backwards. And then with your next in-breath, just allow your arms to float out in front of you. And then as you breathe out, they gently sink all the way back down. I want you to imagine that your arms are light as a feather and respond to your breath. You want to try and let everything be driven by your breath. So as you breathe in, your arms float out in front of you and up. As you breathe out, they sink back down. Now, if all you can do is a gentle flap, because that's all your breath and your body will allow, that's fine. There's no prize for making the biggest move. So I'm going to stop talking for a few breaths and just give you a chance to flow into this move in your way. And we'll do this move twice more. And at the bottom, just relax and let go. Maybe wiggle your fingers and toes. Just check everything is still nice and relaxed. Check that you're still comfortable. Now, with that first move, in Tai Chi terms, what we've all done is we've pulled yin energy up from the earth and we've filled the lower half of our body. With the next move, we're going to fill the middle part of our body. So the second move starts in exactly the same way. As you breathe in, your hands float up, but this time, turn the palms inwards and let them spread apart. And then as you breathe out and everything relaxes, your hands just float back in and back down. As you breathe in, can you notice your chest and lungs expanding? And then as they relax on the out breath, that allows your hands to float back in and back down. Again, this is only a small move, that's fine. In fact, if all you're doing is that, again, that's fine if that's what your body's happy doing. But you're pulling energy in to the middle half of your body. As you breathe in, you're breathing that energy in. As you breathe out, you're getting ready to pull more energy in. Again, I'll leave you in silence to flow through this move in a way that works for you. As you breathe in, your hands float up and apart. As you breathe out, they float back in and back down. And then last time for this move. Relax, let go, wiggle fingers and toes. So with that move, you've pulled energy into the middle part of your body. The third move, we're going to pull energy into the upper part of your body, and that will be yang energy from the sun and from the sky. So this time as you breathe in, now if you can get your arms all the way up there comfortably and without your shoulders hurting, go for it. If you can only get your hands there, then that's good. Now, I'm too far away from the screen to respond to any chat, so I can see someone just put something in chat. I can't read it. I'll look at chat when I finish leading these moves. So, breathe in, your hands come up to make an arch. And as you breathe out, raise your right heel off the floor and let your right arm uncurl. And then as you breathe in, the hand comes back to the top and the heel goes down to the bottom. Then do the same on the other side. I'd like you to imagine that you're catching yang energy from the sun and scooping it into the top of your head. And we'll do one more move on each side. As you breathe in, your heel goes down, your hands meet at the top, and then turn your palms outwards. As you breathe out, let your hands sweep all the way down to the bottom. Then as you breathe in, they rise up again. What we're doing with this move is we're mixing up all the energy that you've filled your body with. So you're pulling the yin energy up all the way to the top, and you're pushing the yang energy all the way down to the bottom. Again, if you're only making a small flappy move because of your shoulders or whatever, that's absolutely fine. Remember, nothing you do should cause you pain or discomfort. And we'll do this move twice more. And on the final move, as you breathe out, I'd like you to bring your hands to rest just above your lap with the palms up. And as you breathe in, let your hands move out and up. And then as you breathe out, just let them float down. Imagine you've got a small ball on your lap, and as you breathe in, you're smoothing around the ball, and as you breathe out, you push it down. Keep this move very small and very low. Keep your hands below your heart. And this move is called balancing the chi. And with this move, you're basically bringing your energy back to where it stays for you to call on it when you need it, which is just behind your belly button. We'll do this move twice more. And then as you breathe out, just bring your hands to rest in front of your belly button, on your lap, by your side, wherever is comfortable. And I just want you to take 3 or 4 gentle, easy breaths and get the sense of everything settling back and settling down to where it should be. Okay, I'm going to move a little bit closer to the camera now. And I'll adjust it so that you're looking at my face and not my t-shirt. Hello, Jane. I can see you watching. What does that say? Right. I'm going to pour myself a cup of tea. Got a bit of a croaky voice this morning. Now, as I say, that is simply 4 out of 18 moves of the shibashi set. Shibashi is literally the Chinese word for 18. But the aim of these streams is not to teach people the full thing. It's to give people techniques that they can use, whatever their physical abilities and however much time you've got available. Now, that simple set, I'll remind you what we did. Raising the arms, you're pulling yin energy into your legs and abdomen. With the, this move is called opening of the chest. You're pulling energy in to the middle part of your body. And with that, this move is called painting rainbows for obvious reasons. With that move, you pulled the energy in to the crown of your head and the upper part of your body. And then with the fourth move, you just mixed everything up. Those 4 moves, followed by the final move of balancing the chi, make a perfectly balanced, perfectly acceptable qigong set for anyone to do, whether you can stand or whether you need to sit down. I've done this one seated. If there's any interest in demonstrating standing qigong, I'm very happy to do so. DM me, let me know, and I can do some standing qigong next week. But what I've done in this video, I hope, is teach you the 4 basic moves that you can do easily and quickly. Because when you do qigong, the idea is that you repeat each move 6 to 8 times. Now, 5 moves, let's say you do 8 repetitions of each move. 5 8s are 40. 40 breaths. Well, maybe a few more breaths, because really what you need to do at the beginning is just take a few breaths to settle yourself in. And when you've done the final move of balancing the chi, you need to take another few breaths just to kind of mentally end the session. So let's call it 50 breaths. That is less than 5 minutes for most people. Average breath rate, something like 17 a minute, I think. It's certainly not very long. And what I would like to encourage everybody to do, even if you're able to stand and you're thinking, oh, I'd like to do it standing, and I will do that if you contact me. But for the moment, do it seated. Practice doing it seated, because at least you're doing something. Qigong is very, very mindful. And my other big technique is mindfulness. And what you can do when you've finished your qigong is just sit, still trying to keep your posture as good as it can be, and just focus on your breath for 10 breaths. Just sit and count to 10 breaths. And that means you can add a little bit of mindfulness in, because mindfulness is absolutely wonderful. Mindfulness is a skill that I think everybody should use. But the wonderful thing about qigong is it's mindfulness for the sort of person who says, oh, I can't sit still. Because every move is driven by your breath. It should flow from your breath. So you're aware of your breath, you're focusing on your breath, and you're focusing on what you're doing with your body. And focusing on your body is another very good way of practicing mindfulness, because you need to be aware of what's going on in your body so you can react to it. I mean, sometimes there are things going on that kind of force a reaction. If you suddenly realise that you need an urgent trip to the bathroom, or you've got stomach ache, or you've got backache, that means that you really need to go and sit down or lie down. That's one form of mindfulness. But also, when you know what's normal for you, if you notice something is different, you can act. This was how I caught my osteoarthritis so quickly. I was doing qigong, standing, and I suddenly thought, oh, didn't have that pain there in my hip before, because I knew how my body should react during the set, because I've done it so often. Excuse me. I thought, oh, pains come, pains go, you know, maybe this one will go away. It didn't go away, and because I've got a little bit of specialist knowledge, I didn't go to the doctor. I thought, joint physiotherapist. So I referred myself to the local physiotherapy department and said, I've just developed this slight pain in my hip. Don't know what it is. It doesn't want to go away. And so she put me through some exercises and she said, you've got osteoarthritis. I thought, lovely. Just what I always wanted. I did then go to the doctor to say, oh, look, I've been told I've got this, so it's officially on my record. But if you have joint pain, and this is one area where qigong in any form is really helpful. If you've got joint pain, keeping the joint mobile is really important. Which sounds counterintuitive, because obviously, you know, if a joint hurts, you don't want to use it. But actually, motion is the best lotion to keep the joint moving so that it doesn't get any worse. So that's a short seated Tai Chi Qigong set. Now, if any of my CPM people are saying, oh, but you didn't use the normal visualizations. No, I know I didn't. The visualizations, I mean, those visualizations do have value, but I wanted to explain from the roots of Tai Chi what those moves were all about. So I will still use the normal visualizations with my CPM crew. Trust me. So I hope you enjoyed that. Do please feel free to contact me if you would like any further information. If what I've said about Tai Chi Qigong has interested you, and this is really aimed at the more able-bodied, I run 2 online sessions via Google Meet, one on a Monday evening at 6 p.m. and the other one on a Thursday morning at 11 a.m. If you're interested and you would like to try that out, DM me and I can send you the link. The same link works for both classes. Your first session will be free. But there is a charge for further sessions, and that's a more formal £5 per session. But there's a loyalty scheme, so you can payment is via PayPal or Bax, and you can pay me in advance for 5 sessions and get the 6th free. And I keep a record of when you attend, so if you have to miss 1 week, it doesn't matter. I know how many sessions you've been to, so you can have 6 sessions for the price of 5. If I get enough interest, I will demonstrate that set done standing next Tuesday. Otherwise, I'm open to suggestions. What would you like me to do? Would you like me to look at pain management, stress management? Would you like me to do some more meditation? Would you like me to talk about a little bit about life coaching skills. There's all sorts of things. These streams are your streams. They're done to enable you to get control of the things that you need to get control of in your life. Because everybody's different. And although I started training in all these skills, the hypnotherapy, the life coaching, the Tai Chi and the mindfulness and all this, that and the other, although I started training in these skills because the techniques really helped me, I know not every technique will work for everybody. And if you've watched this today and thought, oh, that's very good, then I'd like to invite you to just DM me and say what you would like me to cover, because I'm pretty certain I can come up with a technique that works for you. So I am going to end this stream now, and I look forward to any comments that people want to make. And I'm going to end by, I'm just going to pull a card, because I also do psychic stuff. Perception. Perception is reality. That sounds very deep. But we all view the world through our own filters that come from our own experience. This is the sort of thing that says, that's okay, Dawn. That's okay, Dawn. Glad you found it. Hope it's helping. We all view the world through our own perception filters built of our past experience. The most obvious one of this is that, if you've gone through a really bad breakup, then, you're going to regard, future possible partners with suspicion because, I can't trust them. It's important to realise that your actions are driven by your perceptions, and more importantly, that your perceptions of yourself or other people could be wrong. It's interesting that this picture is shown as being very autumnal, because in autumn, the trees shed their leaves, getting rid of toxins. And it's quite possible that you need to shed some misconceptions that are stopping you either from seeing someone as they truly are, or more likely, misconceptions that are stopping you from being as good as you possibly could be. So if you're the sort of person who's always down on themselves, this card is saying to you, hang on a minute, are you sure that's right? Because very often the person we're hardest on is ourselves. Anyway, Dawn, Deborah, Anthony, Anita, I think Craig was in earlier, Jane was in earlier. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to make a suggestion for what I can cover in my next stream, just comment below or DM me. In the meantime, take care of yourself and remember that you matter. Namaste.